happens when you take the two most popular toy brands in the world and combine them. Hi, my name is Holly and I grew up on three things: Lego, Barbie, and the color pink. So when the Barbie movie got announced, naturally I was ecstatic and have since decided to make it my entire personality. I was raised on Barbie and Lego and it would be my dream for the two of them to combine. However, that's not possible since Matone owns Mega Bloks. And even though Lego have done a collab with Hasbro making Optimus Prime, I have unfortunately accepted the fact that Lego Barbie is just never gonna be a thing. But I'm not gonna let that stop me from making Lego Barbie a thing. So naturally, taking my love and hype for Lego, Barbie, and this Barbie movie, I've decided to attempt to make the Barbie Dreamhouse out of Lego. To get a good idea of how the house should be, we should probably head to Barbie World. Welcome to the set of the Barbie movie, where luckily Architectural Digest did an entire shoot and just article about the Barbie house and the Barbie set. And also the Architectural Digest breakdown video too is going to be so helpful in seeing all of the little details and basically just working out what the floor plan of the Barbie house is. At its core, the house is pretty simple. It's got 3 floors: the ground floor, the middle floor, and then the bedroom, which sits on the top with a fireplace going straight down the middle. Some of the key points though with the house, first up, that I need to recreate are the pools. Secondly is the giant slide that comes down from the house into the pool, which luckily for me, there are Lego slides that I can get in that dark pink. So now that I had got my slide and my planes, it was time to actually start building the house. And I figured the easiest way, just given my limited resources at this time, was starting from the top down. Now Mattel made a Mega Bloks version of this, and admittedly it looks really, really cool. However, in Australia, it's not particularly easy to get your hands on. It's also not the cheapest thing. So instead of buying it, I thought I would use it as a reference. Now when we take a look at the roof, luckily this is incredibly simple. I just need a plate, the brick-built fireplace, and then a couple of bricks to go around the outside and kind of create this little border. When I look at the Barbie Dreamhouse though that Mega Bloks did, one thing that really stood out to me was the fireplace. Now with Mega Bloks, I feel like the pink tones were a lot more the same and there was a little bit more white incorporated than I actually see in the photos of the Barbie house. So in order to make the fireplace, I wanted to incorporate 3 pink tones, that being the Lego colors bright pink, dark pink, and magenta. So starting off, I just did a very simple roof piece and then got started on making the fireplace. Now one thing that happened with building this too was that I realized that I want to be able to take it apart so that I can bring it and put it on display at a Lego convention. So in order to do that, I need to build this thing with the intention of it breaking back down into different sections so that I can pack it in a suitcase. So when I was building the fireplace, I wanted the first section of it to actually connect to that first floor of the roof, and then as I go down, I'm just going to connect it using a bunch of jumper plate pieces so that this entire top section can pop off really easily. But let's talk Barbie's bedroom. This is really the first room that I have attempted and am going to attempt during this build, and there are some very notable things here. There are these really nice translucent lamp pieces, there's a couple of little couches, as well as her heart-shaped bed. So once I'd done the basic structure, I got started on the lamps since I figured they would be the easiest, and luckily I had a ton of translucent pieces, which I figured was probably going to be the best way to get this to work. I found these domes in my collection as well as a couple of transparent flagpole pieces, so I combined them all and really topped it off using these transparent yellow studs to represent the light bulb and really sell the fact that these are lamps. I also made a tiny little couch using a variety of pink slope pieces, and then it was time to tackle the bed. I very quickly realized that creating the heart-shaped bed was going to be almost impossible. However, I could not let that stop me, because the older I get, the more I seem to have the how hard can it be gene. For example, I saw the Western Barbie outfit and loved it so much that I attempted to make the pants using my sewing machine. The star on the butt might be falling off, but that doesn't excuse the fact that I succeeded. So I started off by making the headboard using this semicircle plate piece, and then actually used some curved bricks in order to make the bed, and decided to go with a more curved shape rather than a heart. That way I could tile off the entire thing and make it look absolutely perfect, just like everything else in Barbie World. With the top part of the Dreamhouse done though, I think it's time we add the most important part of this project, and that is Barbie herself. Before I even got started building the Barbie Dreamhouse, I decided to make a Barbie minifigure. And of course, if I'm going through all of this effort, it had to be the Western cowgirl Barbie. So I took myself into Illustrator and started to draw up a version of this outfit in Lego form. Now it was actually quite hard to do the pants considering they are like flare pants, and to try and illustrate that on a minifigure, which is very just like straight up and down and blocky, was a little bit difficult. So I took some notes from the Lego graphic designers in general on how they create the negative space on the female bodies in general, and tried tried to do that on the legs. Then I had to think about what head print and hair would work best, and instantly I thought about this like bright blonde, long, curly hair piece. I feel like this is just perfect Margot Robbie Barbie style, and combined with the drawing that I make, I think would make the perfect minifigure. So step one was to order the parts and get those shipped off so that I could get these Barbie minifigures printed. Including my copy, I ended up getting 30 made, and I am so impressed with how they turned out, and I cannot wait to add her to the Barbie house. But if you want to pick one up for yourself, you can head to HollyOnFilm.com. I'll leave a link in the description down below. The next thing to tackle is Barbie's wardrobe as well as her bathroom, which are on the same floor. The floor plan of this level 2 is a lot larger than the rest of the floors so far, so I've got to add a lot of extra plates and really build up quite a robust base. So I started off building the wardrobe segment using a couple of these drawer pieces as well as a couple of window frames, and trying to incorporate a variety of bows and sunglasses and just tiny little accessories for Barbie. I also really wanted to make her little vanity table, which it looks like it was kind of a heart shape, so I used a couple of these round plate pieces and managed to make some sort of table, which I was able to place at a little bit of an angle using some studs on the ground, and then just added a little stool, which she can in fact sit out if they want her to. With the closet, one of my favorite things about it is just how they made it look exactly like a Barbie box, with a thick round border and this transparent cellophane type of thing in the middle so that you could see through it and see Barbie and see all of her outfits. And that's something I really wanted to replicate, so I used a pink border around the outside and then lined it with these transparent bricks in the middle, leaving enough space still that I could have a couple of Barbie accessories, and ideally put a minifigure wearing a Barbie-like outfit in the middle. That way I could properly represent the wardrobe, which represents this box, which represents just Barbie in general. Incorporating the fireplace though, luckily was very easily, as I actually just used it as the base for all of Barbie's shower tile, which this section was definitely the easiest part of the build that I have done so far, because really the only thing I needed to incorporate was a shower head, and luckily I had this chrome little dish piece and a grey tap, so altogether it kind of just looks like the shower head's poking out from the wall. Alongside the house though, something that I thought would be really interesting to include into this mock was the Barbie car itself. Now fortunately, LEGO have made a pink car before inside the Downtown Diner modular set, which of course had pink hoods and pink doors, which really I guess are the main parts when you're building a LEGO car. However, if we actually look at the design of that car from the Downtown Diner set, it looks incredibly similar to the Corvette. Now I didn't pick up the Downtown Diner set unfortunately, so I don't have this car in my possession. However, the more I thought about it and the more I looked at it, the more I just wanted to take the car from the set and just pretty much plop it into my mock, maybe do a couple of color swaps to get rid of the tan and make it white and just make it a little bit more Barbie-fied. So once I figured this out at 10 o'clock at night, I ran upstairs to my LEGO parts and started to source as many as I can from my own collection and figure out which ones I was missing. I had to place a parts order, and while I was there, ordered a ton more bricks because I realized that I did not have enough to finish the rest of the house. Once the pieces arrived, I finished building it following the Downtown Diner instructions and basically just color swapped a few things, but essentially the car is the exact same as that set, which honestly, I absolutely love it and I think it works really, really well. So now we're onto the final stretch of the house, which is the entire base level and the floor. Luckily, I had ordered a ton of other pink pieces alongside my car order, so now I had enough pieces to actually properly give this thing a crack. So I made up the base using a variety of green plates as well as just a couple of like rectangular plates in order to make this whole thing feel very strong on the structure. The actual floor plan though was of course still going to be pink in order to match the rest of the house. However, I really wanted to have some white plates around the pool area since the floor for this section looks a lot whiter and a lot brighter than the rest of the house. Something that was pretty easy though was making the doors. I ended up just using a bunch of these translucent speckled pink bricks that I had lying around and kind of attached them onto some hinge pieces so that technically they can open. The first thing I had to do though was map out where exactly the slide needed to go in order to attach to both the house as well as the blue base plates of the pool. And then really the main thing I needed to do was finish off the fireplace. So just like the rest of the levels, I added a couple of jumper plates in so that it could be a very strong support system in the middle of the house. As I go through the footage and the photos from Architectural Digest though, it became very clear to me just how empty this floor is, and really there was not a lot going on. I really just needed to kind of finish off the fireplace, add a couple of supports here and there, do a little bit of a kitchen, a couple dining chairs, I guess a few couches, and then at the very end too, I realized that she had a spiral staircase. Luckily as well, LEGO does have a spiral staircase piece and it does come in the magenta color, so I was able to replicate that really nicely and just kind of stick that at the back of the build. And one other thing I really wanted to do on this floor plan was create a little pathway that led into the house just like in the movie, as well as a tiny little driveway on the grass. And overall this level I think turned out really well, especially given how bare bones it was and also just how difficult I found it. I mean, looking at it, it definitely looks like it should have been the most simplest thing ever, but personally, I kind of struggled just with how I wanted to lay out this entire floor. But the slide and the pool were really the elements that I was struggling with the most, so the fact that I was able to get everything to come together really well makes me feel really good right now. So far I'm really happy with how the Barbie house is coming along. I just love how it's shaping up. I feel like I'm doing a really good job. However, we are missing one major thing. And that's Ken.
Hi, Barbie!
It was at this point that I was majorly regretting not designing a custom Ken to go with my custom Barbie, but that being said, luckily there is actually a torso that exists in the modular police station that looks really similar to Ken's pink and green shirt. So I took that torso and swapped out the arms, and then unfortunately I could not find any good shorts that would match, so I just had to go with white legs. As for his hair, this blonde comb over from Draco Malfoy I think works perfectly, and this Ken is good enough for now, but I will definitely be drawing up my own one. So now that we have Ken, we have completed all of the elements that I really wanted to include for the Barbie house. I mean, ideally, I would love to add a couple extra Kens and Barbie dolls, but that is something that I'll probably add later on. But here is the finished model. We have Barbie, we have Ken, we have the Corvette, and of course, the 3-story Barbie dream house. Overall, this build turned out a lot larger than I initially expected, and also used a lot less pieces than I expected. I ended up having quite a surplus of parts left over. I cannot tell you how cool it is for me to have a Lego model of a Barbie dream house, especially from this movie, because I feel like it took the 2 biggest influences on me from my childhood and my 2 favorite toys and just combined them into one really, really cool thing. This whole idea is a massive passion project for me, and I am so proud of how it turned out, so I really hope that you like the look of it. The final build is so big, so pink, so fun, and I am incredibly proud of how it turned out. So if you guys liked this model and if you liked this build, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below, and be sure to check out my website too if you want one of the custom Barbie minifigures for yourself. But until next time guys, I'll see you later.